Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel, and I'm here again following the news that Russell Brand has been demonetized on his YouTube channel. So this leads me to kind of two conversations around this, and the first one is obviously, oh my gosh, the fact that just on four people's word that haven't revealed themselves and have remained anonymous, without any trial, any police investigation, you can be so cancelled from your life that you can have all your income removed from you, you can be deplatformed, etc., etc. It's pretty scary times to live, And the thing is, no one minds when it's things that are not affecting them. And that's what tends to happen, is if it's not affecting you, their head goes in the sand, and until it does. Obviously, I don't like to put negative stuff out there, but if you do have to stand up for yourself, in my opinion, because if you let things like this slide, even if he's proved to be guilty, I won't change my mind on this, because he is not right now. And in fact, I'm actually going to go even further than this in a minute, but that's going to be part of another conversation. But I understand that private companies have a right to do this, but the fact that they are doing is scary. And I do think that we should be putting pressure on these companies as a society not to do this, because it starts off with some people can come out and say some stuff about you, and you don't have any right to enter businesses, earn money on their platform. And then if we allow that to continue, then, the next thing could be any silly little thing like you don't have your government vaccine, and the same happens to you. And I think it is important that we don't fear things in the future, that we don't talk about these things, I'm going to do that again, but that we do stand up and we speak up for things in the now, and we make sure that we don't let things slip bit by bit, so we do end up on a slippery slope. Now is the time to speak up. And like I said, we don't really have any rights over private companies, I don't believe. I think that is completely up to them, who they, let in their business have on their platform. But I do think we're living in scary times if we just accept and say we're okay with people not being allowed to earn money, have agents, perform gigs, because some people have accused them of something, even though there's not actually been any laws broken to that point. But I'm even going to go beyond that. And what this actually made me realise, and what I want the topic of the real video to be about, is forgiveness. I think that we live in a time in society now where we don't let people evolve and we don't let people change, and we very much want to pin them into a box that once they've done something wrong, we can go and we can dig something out from 10, 20 years ago, and that's it. That person should never have a life again, should never be able to earn money again, should never be able to be a part of society again. I think we really need to get a lot better with how we deal with people that have done something wrong per se. Their life path has led them, or their soul path has led them to live a lifestyle that they're not proud of. But who is proud of their past? And we've all got variations of that. Some people, they've had to go really dark, and some of us, we've just said or done a few things that we're not proud of. But where does forgiveness step in? Where does allowing people to have a fresh start? And let's just say, absolutely, the worst case scenario, that Russell Brand is found guilty in a court of law. Don't get me wrong, we can't really implicitly trust the court of law. It does get it wrong. It does have agendas at time, and we see that come out down the line, where people have just been fixated on imprisoning somebody, and they've been innocent that whole time. So it's no absolute, but let's just say it's better than a bunch of people on on YouTube making an opinion and taking away someone's entire livelihood and ability to function in society based on their opinion with zero evidence. As a society these days, we are seriously unable to let people move on, to let people evolve, to let people change. You know, I'm not saying people shouldn't serve their time, but once they have, then it shouldn't. I don't believe in one's life outside of jail being affected by their time in jail. You go to court, you are prosecuted, you serve your time, you should be allowed to reintegrate into society. You shouldn't be, I honestly think some of these so-called woke liberals think that if somebody makes a mistake, does something wrong, or even something really bad in life, that they should be tarred with that for the rest of eternity. And I honestly think that this is why we have to live, we have to die and be reborn, and we have to constantly go through this cycle, because we're unable to let people evolve, and we're so judgmental, and we want to box people in and not let them outgrow who they were in the past. That, you know, I think that this is why we have to live like this as humans, because we would just run out at some point, you know, because we are really unable to let people grow, learn and change. We just want to box them in the person they were 20 years ago. And some things are major crimes, like this would be a crime that even 20 years ago wouldn't have been allowed. But attitudes change and times change, and what we consider okay changes. A great example of this, I think, is actually blackface. When I was at university, it was not weird at all to paint yourself random colours. That included brown, but also yellow, blue. I remember people going as the Simpsons. I'm just so thankful that I didn't like body paint and face paint. I hated it, so I never did myself any colour. But there were people, I remember a girl that painted herself brown because she was a hot dog or a sausage or something. But if you found those photos now, I always feel for her, because I think, oh my gosh, you know, she could be cancelled now. It just wasn't a big deal back then. It just wasn't. No one thought of it as negative or taking the pee out of people. It was just, you were going as somebody in fancy dress and you were just having a laugh when you were getting ready. And many people did it. I remember people going as like bombers with cereal packs that represented bomb, you know, gosh, some of these things now, but we just didn't think like that back then. It wasn't part of the time. And if you go back even further to ancient Egypt, it was totally normal and acceptable part of society to get married at 12 and to marry your mother, father, sister, brother. Like today we think that's absolutely disgusting, but you know, ancient Egypts didn't, and we can't go back and judge ancient Egyptians for the things that they, you know, thought were okay at the time that we now don't. We're always evolving as a society, but always shifting and changing what we think is morally acceptable. But you can't really go back in time and pass judgments on things that have well and truly passed now. And I think we just have to learn to let go, to accept we're all evolving, we're all moving forwards, we're all hopefully becoming more morally aligned. And I really think this is a big lesson, if anything bad does happen in, you know, I personally do not believe that just because someone's been in jail, they should never be allowed a job or a chance to reintegrate into society or a chance to, you know, redeem themselves and come out a better person. I just find society these days is, especially the US and the UK a little bit, we don't let people move on, we don't let them atone for things, and we don't follow a spiritual or Christian attitude when it comes to forgiveness and allowing people second chances in life. We really honestly believe somebody should be cast out forever because of mistakes in the past, and that is not, you know, how spirituality would look at something. It's not how Buddhism would look at something. It's not how Christianity, whatever it is that you adhere to practice it, you know, you have to be able to forgive somebody once they re-enter society and allow them to have a fresh start, whatever their crime was. And that's just the way that I look at it. And some of these things that people do are very small things as well. And they are literally, you know, people will come back onto their YouTube after years and try and cancel them, try and stop them from earning money. And I think I don't like it. I do not like it. I think it's part of what holds society back. we just obsess with punishment rather than rehabilitation. And if you look at the way American jails work, they're very focused on punishment, whereas if you look at Norwegian jails, they're very focused on rehabilitating prisoners and making them come out better than they went in. And the reoffence rate in Norway is insanely low, one of the lowest in the world, and America is one of the highest. And I do honestly think it's the way that they view prisoners. If you let somebody out, they've served their time and you let them out and they're unable to function in society, where do you think they're going to go? Back again. We have to enable people to have second chances in life and not constantly hold them to like a past version of themselves from 30 years ago. It just really blows my mind. But anyway, had a bit of a rant there, and I hope everybody is good, and I'll chat soon. Bye bye.